Don Corleone, whatever, he goes to his home and have dinner with his family. He doesn't want to talk about who he killed today. He wants sanity in his family. He wants everything to be clear, isn't it? That's how we want to. We may be doing, perhaps our actions and our characters may be different in the world, but at the end of the day, you want to purify that and you want to have something clean. And that shows the basic goodness that we may be overwhelmed with our karma, so many lifetimes of karma, so many things are hanging over our head. But at the end of the day, you want to get rid of it. You know there's not something you want to engage. You don't want to talk to your family about who you killed today, who you did this, but you want to have something to your children, something they can know positive about it, something you can share them about, how to be a better person and how to do that, no matter how worse a person is. Including in the Bodhisattva teaching, it explained that the way enlightened seed in every being, no matter how cruel an animal, such as, let's say, hyenas or wild dogs or whatever, but they show love to their children. They are there for the children. And they teach them their way, how they can survive and how they can be happy, basically how they can be happy and nourish and grow. Same thing, we are trying to do that. Perhaps we have not really succeeded. And I think to succeed over neurosis, the cause of all of our problem is neurosis. To succeed over neurosis, you need really the Dharma. You really need to understand how the mind functions. What is the antidote for neurosis? What is the antidote for depression? What is the antidote for afflictive emotion? What can counter-effect? And when you really study, you can't find more than the Dharma teaching. And when we do study, and when we do reflect on Dharma, we need very open mind, transparency, openness, nothing to hide. I think that is so important, that transparency. Therefore, Buddha, after he achieved enlightenment, when he started beginning to give teaching, he said, don't take the words I said so, check it and analyze. And I think that's become a very important part of the teaching of Buddha Dharma, that no matter which level of your studying, you need to have an open mind, and then you need to use your intelligence, because we as a human being have this amazing intelligence to see through it, to analyze, to check, and to find what is truth and what is ignorance. And who can do that for you? Nobody else can do it for you. Only you can do it for yourself. You need to know the way, you need to hear the teaching, but finally you have to be your master. Your external master is a relative master, but you have to be your ultimate master. In order for you to be your ultimate master, how are you going to guide yourself and go through these turbulence, waves of samsara? That's, you need to be equipped well, and you need to know how to, drive yourself through it. So therefore, study of Dharma is very important. Without study, even all Dharma qualities actually is inherent within you. In fact, you don't have to read any single book. You don't have to read not even one word, because they're already in your mind. But it seems like right now we need to study some and read some, otherwise we couldn't really discover. And that was personally for me what I love about Dharma. I don't hear anything foreign from what Buddha's teaching. I see what is inside from this teaching of the Vinaya, Hinayana teaching, Mahayana teaching, all the different levels of teaching, is all unraveling what's within us, and discovering what's already within you. Such as your compassion nature, such as your basic goodness, such as the very notion we just talk about. Even, no matter how bad a person is, at the end of the day, he or she wants something clean and nice, some problems like that. So therefore, study of the Dharma at the beginning is very important. Study in the middle, reflection is very important. At the end, to put that into practice is very important. Such as the practice of meditation. Meditation, already you have meditation. You just hearing, when a meditation teaching is given, the master introduces you what you already have. I'm not giving you a new idea, because new idea will be foreign, and no foreign will ever work in your system. It will reject. Like artificial lungs or artificial kidney, they reject most of the time, or his limited time. I heard someone who have kidney problem, you get a new kidney, the longest it could last is 10 years. That's the lifespan the doctor can give. But afterwards, it will be over. Perhaps you live 1 or 2 years more. It's up to your karma. But basically, 10 years is the lifespan of a kidney. So it will reject at the end. But what is organic, naturally, it can never reject. Such as compassion, such as wisdom, such as, like when we're talking practice of meditation, whether it's the calm abiding state, whether it's the experience of natural joy within us, the skillful mean, all are already there. If it's not inside you already, then it's a foreign thing. So therefore, you are Buddhas. You all are Buddhas. Buddha means awakened mind. Don't think that when you say Buddha, suddenly your long golden body with a long ear, and all the, all the different hairs. Buddha means awakened mind. So you're all Buddhas. It is said, all beings are Buddhas. There is a saying in the Dharma word. Tibetan word is Simche Namne Sangi Ni Hunkyang Lupru Time Dip Tima Tetel Sangi, All beings are Buddhas. However, temporarily they are obscure, they couldn't see the awakened mind. Once the obscuration is removed, they are the awakened mind. The traditional example is like the sunshine. Sun is always shining, regardless whether it's rain or hurricane or storm or whatever it is, it's always shining. It seems temporarily when there's a cloud is blocked, we don't see the sun, so we say, where is the sun? But it doesn't mean that when there's clouds, sun has disappeared. Sun is always there. Not only always there, but always shining. Now that's very interesting, this example. Because it says in the teaching, and it is when you experience, that basic goodness, which is like the sunshine, or basic sanity, it has never been compromised. It's never been compromised. No matter how confused, while you are going through neurotic pattern of mindset or confused mindset, it is always clear, like the sun has never been compromised by the dark cloud, same as your basic goodness has never been compromised, even when you're confused. And then so then a lot of questions arise, normally, However, now, one of the way to really see through that is the teaching of Sutra Mahayana, which talks about interdependence. When you analyze the teaching of interdependence, that every phenomena is interdependence, in fact, right now. Your emotions are interdependence. The houses and places and mountains and waters and whatever you see are all interdependent. Our engagements are interdependent. But what interdependence shows behind, so to speak, that we say, what's behind the picture? What shows behind the picture is, if it's interdependent, then it's devoid of any inherent existence or any independent existence. That means it's empty, means there is no, it's completely open. It's not like there's nothing sticky. There's no sticky rice there. It's all boiled rice. You can add up flavors, but it will never stick. That's how interdependent is. Doesn't mean there is no rice. There is rice, but it's not a sticky rice. It's open, it's flavorful, but at the same time it's free. It's not sticking anything. Anything which stick is extreme. It's then it cannot be interdependent. It's more like independent. So now, studying Dharma, as you reflect, as you meditate, you see your mind more open. How can people get healed? Let's look at that way. Somebody's so crazy, somebody's so confused, and someone's so fixated, and after a long time of meditation, they come out of fixation. Some people have fear of flying. They no longer have the fear of flying after long practice of meditation. So many fixation that we are caught up seems almost impossible to get out. When we do practice, sitting practice, we are able to free that, and we become more open and more celebration of life than a quality of death, quality of darkness, because it's already within you. You just have to discover your mind. So, tonight, since Thursday, we all do meditation practice. In bringing the awareness of practice of meditation, which is basically nothing other than one's own fundamental goodness, fundamental mind. You know, sometimes we say, oh, now I have to do meditation. And it's true. At the beginning, looks like there's a certain way of thinking, certain way of discipline, how you're going to sit, how you're going to focus your mind, and then how you're going to, continue the practice of meditation. And of course, there's very basic goodness within you. I think we don't hear much basic goodness. The problem is, we hear a lot about ambition I don't want to particularly say in the West. Secular education has emphasized a lot on ambition. Because that's how secular life functions generally. You need ambition, you need, achievement. So that's the driving force. While Dharma teaching is not totally contradictory, but Dharma teaching emphasizes on achievement of basic goodness. So there is a difference between basic goodness and ego's world. Secular education that you are brought up in schools and colleges is based on achievement of materialism. which has to greatly to deal with fixation and ego and pride and all those things. And that's not to say that in Dharma, once you learn Dharma, that you have to give up. It's never said that you have to give up. In fact, you're supposed to engage. Especially the deeper the Dharma gets, Mahayana Bodhisattva path is engagement. It is not disengagement. If you disengage, it's no longer Mahayana practice. Only in Hinayana practice, there's a certain level of disengagement. Self-discipline, certain people need that. They cannot handle in engagement. So, but we need to understand what is the basic goodness. And what is basic goodness is, I think, very important to understand the interdependent teaching. Once you have a very good understanding of interdependent teaching, then you can relate to the both world, in fact. You can relate to the secular world and you can relate to the spiritual world. You can relate to the secular world because, as I said earlier, we were talking about, at the end of the day, you want a clean and happy life. That's the ultimate goal of the secular life. The ultimate goal of the secular life with ambition is never to produce a very, puke neurosis. And this is what we should have. So therefore, the ultimate aim, ultimate goal is, in the secular world, is to make our life healthy, better, and how to achieve that. And the spiritual world goes further deeper to really know, the origin of the mind, in fact, go even further, how things build up. So therefore, in the spiritual world, compassion is emphasized so much in the spiritual world. In fact, having a very deep knowledge of spiritual world, it will help your secular world experience. No one can ever achieve a good life or happy life or satisfactory life if you don't have a good spiritual deep understanding. Look at people. Whitney Houston died. Michael Jackson died. Anthony Bourdain died recently. Even the secular world, they achieve a high level. But look, because no spiritual world, there's a big depletion of spiritual quality. It is a clear sign of that, no question of that. People get into depression, people get into confusion. Money cannot make people happy at the end of the day. And his son is Dalai Lama, give example. A diamond ring, if a lady, mostly it's the ladies who wear diamond ring. Today also men also, but mainly it's the ladies. So let's say you have a 10-carat diamond ring and you're suffering a lot. You lick the diamond, is it going to make you happy? You may cut your tongue, in fact. Cost you extra to go to the doctor. So, you see, we need spiritual world. We need really, in fact, what do we expect in a secular world? In our secular world, we expect a satisfaction. What is that satisfaction? 5 sense pleasure. It doesn't go more than that. It can't go. There's nothing more than that to look forward. In your eyes is a beauty. In your ear is something pleasant to hear. In your nose, a nice smell. In your tongue, a nice taste. In your body, a nice sensation. And that's what people expect. But that also, in order to get that, whatever our day-to-day life pleasurable experience, no matter what extent that is, to a large extent, to a middle extent, to a small extent, it all depends on affection of other people. It comes from other people's affection, our partners, our families, our communities. And for that, you have to be also reciprocal. Sorry, what is the English? Reciprocal. Excuse me, I didn't went to learn English in college. I learned from hippies. So therefore, it depends. When you're kind and loving affection to your family, to your surrounding, you return that back as a community, as a society. But it cannot come if you're not sharing that with others. So all your, happiness, your sensorial happiness depends on others' affection and kindness and love. Clear it is. Now then, when you look further deeper to your deep mental happiness, then you need practice of bodhicitta. You need meditation practice. You need deep level of compassion, so that you transcend from futility of conditioned phenomena. No matter how much conditioned phenomena can provide, it's still impermanence. Nothing can last forever. It's impermanence. Since it's conditioned by nature, it is, it cannot hold. It can only hold temporarily. Its quality is only temporarily. That's why we all experience our life situations are very temporarily. Our emotions are temporarily. So, and our relationships, our situation in life, constantly changing. And the more the attachment you have, the more clinging you have, the more painful it will be. That doesn't mean that you should not respect, you should not care about them. You should have compassion. In fact, you should be there for all beings, whatever the best you can do. But at the same time, you need your awareness to be open, because it's fundamentally open. You're not trying to fake things up. You're trying to get into what is your nature fundamentally. And then when you remain in your nature, as the nature is, then it fits. And then there will be harmony and openness, wisdom and skill, compassion to manifest and works and brings happiness in your life and bring liberation in your life. So something like that. So practice of compassion, practice of meditation, very, very important too for our spiritual growth. And once a deep spiritual level of spiritual means deep, I don't know what Roman letter means, spiritual. Probably it means deep spirit, something, your real nature. Probably it has to mean something like that. I'm not expert in the language, but from my understanding of the Dharma, it has to mean something spiritual. There is, if you look at the word secular and spiritual, there seems to be different. Secular is more external, and spiritual looks more internal. Something deep core of your awareness, deep core of your mind. I think something like that. So therefore, once you have a deeper level of spiritual realization, then the secular is part of it, naturally included in that, according to Buddhism. And even any denomination, any tradition, whether Christian tradition or any tradition which practice compassion, would have the same effect of their secular life will be more peaceful. Any place where there is more compassion is more peaceful, including animals' world. I think if there's like 3-4 dogs, and then 3-4 dogs are more peaceful dog, I bet they are more happier, that peaceful dogs, compared to the other dogs which is not very peaceful. Same thing in our world. So therefore, why the practice of bodhicitta is so important for our day-to-day and our existence, happiness, enlightenment. Depends on that. So we should think deeper. We know that why we need bodhicitta mind, why we need the practice of meditation in order for day-to-day life to function well and be happy and have a basic goodness in our life. Okay. So let's do a sitting practice meditation now. So please sit comfortably. Make yourself completely relaxed, comfortable, and your body straight, and everything relaxed, nothing uptight, nothing uncomfortable, straight. And then your chin is just slightly like this, not like this, not like this, just straight. And then once the body posture is extremely important, because body posture holds all our energies. How the energy moves, it affects our emotions and thoughts. So if your energies are moving very naturally, then your emotions also become calm. If your energies are stagnated, supposing you are lying in a sleeping position, lying on a chair, you try to do meditation, you will not have any meditation. You will fall asleep. You'll be snoring there. So that's why the posture of the body is extremely important. I would say 30% of your awareness is how clear the mind becomes, affects on the body posture of sitting practice. Therefore, sitting practice posture is first stage, very important. So you sit, in your comfortable state, however, whether sitting on a chair or sitting on a zafu. Now, once you sit, now it's important to know you need to connect with your mind. Connect with your mind doesn't mean you're wandering here and there. The wandering mind is there. So in practice of meditation, you're trying to bring to the spot your wandering mind. You're trying to take charge of your mind, in other words. So then what you say, once you sit, so you say, in my body is my mind, right? In my body is my mind. And mind relax. In other words, there's further one. On the zafu, which is the sitting zafutan, or your chair, on the zafu is my body. In my body is my mind, and mind relax. Like drop it. Don't try to, control your mind, suppress your mind, wander with your mind. Just drop it. When you drop it, then now you go to the breathing. When you breathe in through your nose, and when you breathe out, you are just focused to the breath in a gentle way, not in a penetrating way, but more in a gentle way. You're simply there with the breath. And in one way, in other words, you don't have to worry about it, because if you're not breathing, you'll be dead. So you are breathing naturally, it's happening, your life is continuing. However, here you are focused to the breath, and the reason you are focused to the breath is because when your mind begins to wander, your focus, the very attitude, motivation, the focus is like the measurement whether your mind is wandering or not. That's why you're focusing to the breath. So when you breathe out, you're there. You're there. You're not wandering now. When you breathe out, your mind is focused to the breath. So when you breathe out, just simply you're there. When you breathe in, you're there. Just focus like that. And of course, you can't just be without any thoughts. Suddenly some kind of thought will arise. Past thought, future thoughts, whatever the thought is. So when the thought arises, you need to now recognize the thought. Oh, that is a thought. That is what is called conceptual. That is what is called mind, movement of mind. You can say movement of mind is happening. Simply a movement of mind is happening. That's it. No issues. You don't have to philosophize, anything, which mindset is coming on, whose idea is that. Is Karl Marx's idea, or is Lenin's idea, or, George Washington's idea, or no need. Just a thought arising. That's it. Very simple, very direct. And then you let go and just sit with the breath. So this is how you do sitting practice. And you're just with the breath. Don't expect anything. The more expectation, the more the mind will become confused. Sit with an open mind. Look at the nature of the mind, how open it is. And just be with the breath. Okay. Stretch your legs. We can have a question-answer period. So if you have any questions.
Well, I agree with everything you said about the basic goodness in everybody, but when I'm listening to the news and I'm listening to our politicians, it's sometimes, I guess, they have basic goodness, but it's very obscured. Is that right?
I didn't hear you, sorry. Could you say a little louder?
Oh, well, okay. When I'm listening to the political news, it's very hard to see the basic goodness in some of the things that are happening in our world right now.
We are going through a very difficult time. And right now, this age is called, in the Sanskrit, Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means decadent time or dark times. And I think we can't blame to just one entity. It's misfortune in some way. If I use the word misfortune, because when things doesn't go well, things go crazy and chaotic. That's a misfortune, to begin to say the least, something like that. And this is predicted in many ancient teachings, that we're entering a stage of age which is very intense. And it's many factors what it makes. There's not just one factors. If you look at our the industrial age, before the industrial age, things were much slower. And as we can see from like the age of telephone to age of cell phone, big jump. Age of telephone, probably in 1800s, so whenever that started, there was no dialing system. You have to crank up the phone. I remember I don't remember in 1800s, but I remember I remember in 1960s, in my home in Ladakh, at that time, when there was phone, you have to crank up, and then it is picked by the exchange. So you tell the exchange, can you connect me to so-and-so? That exchange gives to another exchange, that exchange gives to another exchange. Finally, you get to that number, So it takes that long. But everything was much slower pace. Whatever we do, people, I think, the kind of demand that we have today in our jobs, livelihood, everything is so much that people don't have time to sit together and eat together. Like morning time people rush, afternoon people rush, evening rush, and then people get so tired and drop dead, so to speak. Just sit, couch potato, television, whatever, and then we go to sleep, and then almost the same repetition. And then so much, and with the speed of internet and speed of all these things, making our life is supposed to give us more time, it's supposed to make us more relaxed, but actually it's making it more speed. Now I see one phone with 2 SIM cards. One SIM card is not enough. My nephew asked this time, when you come from America, can you get me, there's one cell phone with a 2 SIM card, can you get me that? He asked me. There's 2 SIM cards. So that's how much our life with momentarily, all advertisement, and then you type one thing that you like to go to one destination, then all the follow-up, this place to go there, this place to eat there, this place to stay there. So much distraction. Our minds are getting like so many information, and then people get very kind of like so much caught up in some way that takes away from our families and friends. And when we go to a restaurant, there are 4 people all talking either looking on the internet or talking on the internet, and no one is the time to talk to each other. It's very sad in a way, and it's getting more and more. Perhaps we have seen nothing. Right now I'm talking 2 SIM cards, maybe there'll be 10 SIM cards one day. So many ways, and that makes us more individual, more individualistic, disconnecting from friends and families and children and everything, and the whole society. It's just not one thing, the whole thing. And then crazy things happen, and then people lose track, and then the crazy political situation happens, and it's very sad, and it's also, we're going through that kind of difficult time. And perhaps, I hope it doesn't get worse, but I'm afraid it could get worse. If you look at 1970s, when I came to America in 1987, when I go to a plane, there was no physical check. You can just go straight to the door. Even your friends who come to say goodbye, you can go straight to it. Now, you see, you have to take your shoes off, you have to take this off, and who knows what. So that kind of insecurity, paranoia, and you can't blame. There's all kinds of crazy people in this world today blowing things up, terrorism, and so it's so hard. In fact, this is predicted in Padmasambhava's teaching. In Padmasambhava's teaching, there's one particular Padmasambhava text called Durjatola practice. In that, Padmasambhava said, external chaos and internal chaos, not for a moment there is harmony and peace. And somehow we're seeing some of those today. Everywhere there is chaotic. So, and at that time now, of course, if we say everything is going crazy, then of course it's not going to help us. We can get more depressed. So now, of course, we have to find sanity within us. So thinking depression, thinking craziness, thinking chaotic, it instigates more chaotic. So there's no good answer either. So now how do we bring sanity in our life? I think that's important. And that is what I would say every day we should sit and an hour a day, reflect on bodhicitta, compassion, and reflect on sitting practice. So once you are calm, each person know about 10 people at least. And 10 people you will have effect. If you have stability, calmness, sanity, you will affect 10 people. That 10 people will affect another 10 people. That's how the world will be a better place. But if we're all thinking, a lot of bad things happening and we get angry, that's not a solution to heal that. In fact, it can create more problems. It will make our mind disturbed. And just one wrong doesn't make the other right. All wrong, you get angry, that's anger itself. It doesn't mean your anger is special, the other crazy person. Your anger is good, your anger is as crazy as other person anger. There's no special thing. So that's how we need to have some sense of sanity of, how not to get lost in that kind of craziness in this time and age also. And if you can practice in this time and age how to handle that craziness, I think the blessing is even bigger than when things are calmer. It says that the merit is stronger when you are challenged deeper, if you can transform that. And if you get lost, it's also more dangerous. And therefore, practice meditation is very important, how to bring sanity in your life in this day and age. It's more blessing and more danger.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I thought it was very interesting that you mentioned about current education system, that we are focused on accomplishment and success. And I'm a teacher myself, and I do find it very challenging that, these students do believe, they don't know anything about Buddhism or Dharma. And I deal with them, and I do focus on working hard and be competitive and achieve and success. So how can I make a harmony or justify in a way that as a Dharma practicing person?
I think whether the student know about Buddhism or not doesn't really matter. They should know about kindness and compassion. That is what matters, and that's because everyone has basic goodness. And compassion and wisdom is not just belongs to a particular religion or particular person. It's kind of universal. But however, Buddhism emphasizes so much about that, about egolessness, shunyata, bodhicitta, tremendously, more than many other spiritual teaching. So there is tremendous to learn from Buddhism, tremendous contribution Buddhism has made on the field of spirituality. In Tibet, during Second World War, my late calligraphy teacher told me that a so-called Second World War was going on. They have no idea what's going on. They were really protected at that time. So, and the whole focus from 8th century, since Padmasambhava came, to until now, the whole focus was on spiritual. So great, tremendous levels of men, women, monks, nuns doing years of retreats, some doing lifetime retreats, some doing 2, 3 years, 6 years, 9, all learning about oneself and achieved tremendous grace, realization and signs and many such things. Therefore, Buddhism has a lot to offer to this world. And it will be really a shame to see if Buddhism disappear from this world. And one of the signs that Buddhism can disappear from this world, a practice of meditation disappear, that Buddhism will disappear. Because the real Buddhism is, inner Buddhism is about knowing one's mind nature. As far as the rituals are concerned, it's just like, traditions of channeling through this also beneficial. But the main thing is about, the Buddhism is greatest to offer is about the nature of their mind, the teaching on what is mind, how to realize the essence of the mind. And so that requires compassion, that requires wisdom, that requires skillfulness, kindness. And there's so many ways one can direct that to schools. In, when you teach, even when if they try to kill a bug, you can tell them, don't do that, be kind, for example. And a little child, once they get in their head, it remains for a long time in their mind, how to be kind, respectful of life, and those kind of things. So there are many ways how a child can be taught to respect life, to respect parents, to respect elderly. Those are core of the teaching of Buddhism inside. So I think those, you should not be afraid to tell them, and I think that is very good to show them. So I think these days, I heard there is a curriculum going in Canada, in many schools, and probably in America could be too, learning about compassion in school. And I think those are very, very crucial, because you see, I was just earlier saying, like, who would think Anthony Bourbon would kill himself? That shows he's very unhappy inside. Something depressed. That's the result why when people suicide when they're depressed. And that's when the spiritual compassion, mainly the word, let's just go straight, compassion. I'm not saying Anthony Bourbon has no compassion, but if he did have, he hasn't enough, for sure. That's for sure. And that's what caused him to end his life, because he couldn't deal with how to handle challenging situation in their life. Therefore, we need to instill compassion in every children when they are young. If every parent's responsibility, they have to show the children about kindness, compassion, respect, lovingness. I think that is extremely important. When they grow up, they will be better human beings. They'll be happier, they can be productive, and they can do great deal for the society. If there is no compassion, they can be technically smart, but they will definitely make some mistake at some point in life. That is the danger when there is no compassion. Yeah. So also, this time, I'm very happy to tell all of you, really a great event's going to happen here. His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche, his previous incarnation, previous life, you see in the picture, he's my root teacher. And his incarnation, who is born, he will be visiting us here in Colorado soon. And in Tibetan tradition, as you have seen, perhaps 7 years in Tibet, movie, or like Kundun, there are different movies. The discovery of reincarnation is very interesting. Because you see, when we die, our mind doesn't die. My consciousness is still going on. Even there are a number of Hollywood movies. Have you seen the movie called Always? And there are a number of movies shows how the mind, basically, mind is immaterial. You cannot burn mind. Our only physical body, which is constructed of 4 elements, can burn. But the mind, always. You are also a very ancient person. You may be sitting with this body, but you may be like so many lives. You have been kings, you have been queens, you have been this, you have been that, everything. So in all of our life, and so in Tibet, when these great enlightened beings, many of them, for example, if you hear the Karmapa, the Karmapa are the first, traditionally or historically, the first officially reincarnated lamas of Tibet, Karmapa. Start from the reincarnation tradition. Started from Karmapa. So the Karmapa right now is the 17th Karmapa, who is taken 17 times life. So he's supposed to be the, the oldest of all the reincarnated lamas. And Karmapas, when they die, they tell the name of the father, name of the mother, where they will be born. You see it always. And they are all recorded like that. Then so does, not all the lamas may say, the number of lamas before they die, they say, I will be born to this place, to this father, to this mother. Or this, if that is not said, like the high lamas with the vision like Karmapa, Dujum Rinpoche, many great lamas, they can predict, and then the state oracle also confirm. And then it's not just left on that. They're given test, a lot of test, like all the family gatherings, like parents, his previous life objects, and then identical things, fake ones abroad. And the child, who is so young, early age, is the child choose the right one which belongs to him. And then number of times they will call from the students, ask them the instruction they've been given, how did they follow up. There are many, many stories like this, you see. So after great length of trials and tribulation or test, critical test, because Tibetan Buddhism is logical thing. They don't believe just like a blind faith. So after a long time, then the child is discovered. And those childs themselves, very unique child, tremendous power. Of course, there is that, have you probably seen Golden Child, Eddie Murphy? Hollywood also got interested in that. So, in that Golden Child, if you watch, you will see it, there's a reincarnated lama, and anyway. So, that's a Hollywood story. Anyway, like that, so these childs are, of the same mind of those great beings, come to benefit being in this world, tremendously powerful. So, Dujum Rinpoche is one of the greatest Lama of Tibet. He's the head of the Nyingma school, which is in 8th century, when Padmasambhava came to Tibet. Without Padmasambhava, there will be no Buddhism in Tibet. It's really the Padmasambhava who brought Tibet. I will not be sitting here, you will not be here too. Tonight, if it's not for Padmasambhava, let's put it that way. Truly, it's all Padmasambhava's blessing and energy. You're all here because of Padmasambhava. I'm here because of Padmasambhava. So therefore, Dujum Rinpoche's life circles in the chronography starts during Buddha's time. Buddha's two main disciples, one is Shariputra and Mangalputra. Shariputra was the very intelligent one. So he's the incarnation of that Buddha's disciple Shariputra, coming down many, many succession life. One was, in one lifetime, was Dogun Chogyal Pakpa of the Sakya tradition. Dogun Chogyal Pakpa's Sakya tradition is the one who was the guru to Kublai Khan. Mongols become Buddhists because of partly to do the incarnation of Dujum Rinpoche. And then among the 80 great Mahasiddhas of India, Saraha, the great master Saraha, is also the reincarnation of that. And then among the 25 great disciples of Padmasambhava, called Kyuchung Lotsawa. So amazing these beings are. So he's coming to America this time. He's been to East Coast, he's been to West Coast, and I invited him here, and he graciously accepted. And I consider this Denver, Colorado as mid-America, really. So he's blessing in the East Coast, blessing in the West Coast, now blessing in the Midwest, mid-America, then the whole country get energy from you know. So it's very special for all of us, and he's coming, and I request him to give, you know, when a great being comes, of course, Dharma is given in many different ways. Dharma is given, you know, there's a Hinayana practice, there's Mahayana practice, there is Vajrayana practice. So what we need, you see, in ancient times, one time I was, you know, in ancient times, for example, today Christians go to Jerusalem, and a Muslim go to Mecca. Buddhists go to Bodh Gaya, and then, you know, Padmasambhava's followers, we also go to many different other places, like in Taksang, for example. I did like 1 month retreat in Lady Shitsogil's cave next to it. So many power places. When you do practice in those places, it brings about everything inside you, and the possibility of enlightenment get very, you know, high probability in those places. Anyway, so in ancient times, great beings blessed the place. And then these days, the place blessed the people. That's why we do pilgrims. We go there, we get the energy. So I thought when a great being like comes, of course, any teaching is great, but I want him to get the highest Buddhist teachings that basically is like generating his wisdom energy. These are very profound teachings, and then there will be follow-up translations and everything, but mainly empowerment, basically purifying our body, speech, and mind, obscuration, and bringing the enlightened quality. Some very profound, there is trauma empowerment also, there is Padmasambhava empowerment, and all of these practice will remove your obstacle. You know, even you may not, you know, is such as, for example, tonight I give teaching on meditation, you know, and I also did request a teaching on meditation, because without meditation, I thought you will all go crazy about it, you know. So I thought, please also a meditation teaching so everyone understand, you know. So, but mainly the 3 big empowerments and practice of meditation, and each empowerment includes a lot of blessing and wisdom energy and transformation. So it's like, you see, this is how it works in enlightened energy. Same thing, like in a ordinary life, ordinary world, if you are in a room with a particular group of people, whatever their profession is, you all pick up, you know, energies, and then you try to do that, whether it's in a military training or whether it's in a mafia group or whatever, you see, a good way or whatever. So here, when you sit, then when you see everything he does with your open mind, you need an open mind, then it creates really like wonder in your mind, and then you become part of his mind, and then the energy comes pouring into you. So these are very powerful beings. So therefore, you know, I make a lot of effort to request him here, so because I want best for all of you, the best of blessing for this country, the best for all of you. So therefore, he's coming, and so it'll be 2 days, 16th and 17th. It could go for a long day. From 2 o'clock in the morning, he has to practice himself. Then after 2 o'clock until like 6, 7, 8, I have no idea how long it will go, but it'll be good. There'll be tea break we will have, but so those 2 very, very important thing. It's really like the Padmasambhava himself coming here, and he's pouring the blessing and energy to all of us. So I'm very happy to tell that he's coming, and I hope you too are happy. Yeah. So thank you, and we will meet again. Thank you. Very good. Let's do the conclusion dedication prayer. World Peace Prayer. in the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neurosis,
negative actions which are the enemies, from the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of cyclic existence, may all beings be liberated.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So a few announcements before everybody heads out. So first of all, just thank you, Rinpoche, for your teachings, and thank you for coming back. And Rinpoche has been working on bringing His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche here for years. And when His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche said he was coming to America, hundreds of Dharma centers invited him from all around the country, and he's only going to a few. So this is a really precious opportunity, and it's because of Rinpoche's work for years to build the relationship and his devotion, and it's just amazing that he's coming, and please don't miss this opportunity.
I just want to say one thing. Few, 5-6 days ago, I was in Washington, and I fell asleep during the day, and I had a dream. I met His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche, and I was telling somebody, look, he's 90 years old and how healthy he is. So it's like, really, it's a symbolic dream. He's the same being, but now he's a young man. You see, the same being, but the youthful energy in a 90 years old man was a sign of, and we're meeting, he was very happy, and so this is a sign is coming. I thought, wow, there's a sign that he's the same mind coming in a different body. Very interesting dream.
So you do need to register. It's a free event, but you need to register. So you can go on our website, and we do expect to sell out, which means we're going to have 350 to 400 people here in the center, which is going to be the most that we've ever had. So we need help. So first of all, please register, and register tonight if you're going to come, because we want to make sure that everybody within our center gets the opportunity to first. It did just go viral tonight on Facebook, so I think there's over 10,000 people that saw it just in the last day. So if you haven't registered, do it. Secondly, so Saturday is a huge work day. So we have 2 big work days coming up before this event. Tomorrow is focused on more of the project side. There's a lot of Saturday, thank you. Saturday, it starts at 9:30, and we're going to be doing a lot of projects. So not as focused on cleaning, but some of it will revolve around cleaning. We'll have projects for everybody. Some projects are just wrapping books, like these Chhoje books. So we'll have stuff for everybody to do. However long you can come, please come. And we're going to go until the work is finished. So it might be a long day, but hopefully the more hands will make it a shorter day. And then on July 14th, the day before His Holiness arrives, we're going to do a big center clean. So just scrub this place from top to bottom. So if you 9:30 as well, please come. And then volunteering. So during the event, like I said, there's going to be close to 400 people here. We're going to have a lot of needs we're going to need help with volunteering at the event itself. So there's a couple ways that you can register to volunteer. So Tracy in the back at the computer, she can just type you in if you're willing to volunteer. And then Genevieve also has a clipboard that you can write your name and your email on it. And basically, if we're going to start just assigning people to do things, and it's great for those of you that have been in the center here, because there's a lot of people that have never been to our center before. So we're going to need people directing, showing people where things are, welcoming, greeting, and then keeping the place clean. So we need as many volunteers as we can get. And His Holiness has offered these teachings at no cost. So I feel like it's an even more of an incentive for us to really give back and volunteer as much as possible. And then last but not least, if anybody's not on our newsletter list, right outside the shrine room doors on the right is a sign up for our email list. And that's our main way of communication with the community. So please sign up for that. All right. Thank you, Rinpoche.